because of because of the setup, Donald Trump and I had to be in essentially a broom closet, the two of us, this close together. He was right in my face, like this close together. And Donald Trump just standing there. We're ready to go on. We're both mic'd up and everything. And Donald Trump just says with this like a child or something. He says to me, you're really tall, right? Because he's here, right, backstage. Because he lies about his height, along with everything else. And he's like here, right, close together, like this. And I go, yeah, and I got a lot of money too. He walks out of the Today Show live, really he's for the greatest reason in the world, because I'm taller than him.
Remember Penn from Penn and Teller?
I knew Donald Trump was a dick. I knew he was a loser. He was a joke in New York. He is the only person to own a casino in Las Vegas and go bankrupt. Do you realize how hard it is to go bankrupt with a casino? People come in and they give you money. How do you go bankrupt? You have to be a complete idiot. And I knew he'd Atlantic City. I knew he was a loser. And I thought, well, you know, this is a dip TV show. We're pretending he's a boss. You know, people will say to me, you got fired by Donald Trump. And I go, well, no, I didn't get fired because I wasn't working for Donald Trump. We were both working for NBC. And by the way, my contract went all the way through. I got paid the same amount. He just was pretending in this little thing to fire me. And Donald Trump would sit there reading things that he'd picked up on the internet, that someone talked about how he'd sold his house and not made enough money, right? And he'd say, well, Penn, what do you think of this? And I'd say, it's a 14-year-old child in his parents' basement who read about you and your house sold for less than he thought it should, and he typed something on. Do you understand this? And he goes, no, but this is a guy who doesn't think I'm a good businessman.
Speaking of believing everything he sees.
You know, of course you're talking about the limo explosion. When we saw that.
What kills me is so many people call. I mean, the office next day, like, people, I'm not kidding you, like, and they'd probably be mad at me for saying, like, Trump called and was like, did something happen to Vince? You know what I mean? Like,
did
dude,
Trump not understand that that was a skit?
It's the magic of television, you know what I mean?
That was Triple H, now a firm member of the Trump administration, practically saying the president thought the WWE was real. One episode involving the WWE broadcast to a live television. Vince McMahon entered a limousine only for it to explode. And again, Trump thought it was real. He believes anything and everything he sees.
And isn't he incredibly disappointed when people don't like him?
When I said, 4 years ago, when I was on the show, I said that I didn't think he would be a good president. I got called by everybody and said, no, he really wants you to support him. As a matter of fact,
everybody in the Trump organization.
Backstage, before I lost, he said to me, you really should have supported me for president. And this was, 2 years after or something. And I said, well, no, I'm not going to support you for president. We're doing a reality show. This is a joke. This has nothing to do. Well, you've gotten to know me. But no. I mean, I think of everyone who was on Celebrity Apprentice, I'm the one who liked him the most. Because I actually like that kind of crazy, nutty, honest stuff.
And you've been around that in show business.
Penn would also speak on the matter with Lawrence O'Donnell, then MSNBC, now MS Now. In 2018, Penn would reflect with Vulture. He, as in Trump, would say racially insensitive things that made me uncomfortable. I don't think he ever said anything in that room like African Americans are inferior or anything about rape or grabbing women. But of those 2 hours every other day in a room with him, every 10 minutes was fingernails on chalkboard. He would ask one one cast member if he'd rather have sex with this woman or that woman. He would be reading on the web about a real estate deal he'd made, like he'd sold his house for a certain amount, and someone on some blog had said he should have gotten more. Then he would turn and say that making X amount on a house makes him a good businessman, right? I would say to him, what are you talking about? You don't know who it is reporting that. Is that Forbes? He had no idea. So when it came to think about supporting him for president, I digested that information from being on the show with him and said, absolutely not. He would be a terrible president. Penn would then state, I'd been around him and some people cared what I thought. I said that publicly every chance I got, while also saying, he's a good reality show. You want someone capricious and petty and narcissistic to be on your reality show. And boy, I hate to say this, but playing tapes of him doing that job might be unfair. I want those tapes to be used against him, but it might be unfair.
The President of the United States cannot be concerned with trivial like me. So the New York Times puts out this hate list that Trump that they compiled from reading his tweets, and they use some sort of metric that they just kind of made up, right? They had the list of the people Donald Trump hated the most, okay? Now, I was number 7 on the list.
Wow.
Fine.
Okay.
Hillary Clinton was number 8. So I would say to everybody, however bad you think Trump is, he's worse. However bad. Use your imagination.
There was also this exchange in the build-up to the election. I hear Penn show on Broadway is terrible, Trump tweeted. Not surprised, boring guy, Penn. Without The Apprentice, show would have died long ago. His reply is in Penn's, sorry you couldn't make the opening, but we know you're busy. Would have liked to have seen you. Be well.
Besides being fired twice on Celebrity
No, I was
Apprentice?
not ever fired.
You were not fired?
It's an improvisational television show. He had no
Okay.
job to offer me. The showroom I could have played in, he took to bankruptcy.
Okay.
We were improving on a show. We were not in a boardroom, we were on a set.
Hey.
The boardroom was less real than this room.
I call you a goofball atheist
yes,
on Twitter?
but I also said his hair looked like cotton candy made of pee. As far as everybody who's on Celebrity Apprentice, I believe I'm the one who liked him the most. He's capricious, volatile, irresponsible, and unpredictable. Those are great qualities for reality television. Those are terrible qualities for a president.
Right.
There's no one I respect more in the world than my partner Teller. He is the best magic mind who's ever lived. He is completely responsible, and he's a wonderful performer. If he was running for president, I would do everything in my power to stop him. Just because someone's good at one thing does not mean they should be president.
That's
all.
Seeing how he didn't have the upper hand, Donald Trump would try again. I loved firing goofball atheist Penn on The Apprentice. He never had a chance, wrote letter to me begging for forgiveness. That is just unreal. Hey, I appreciate you watching. Now, if you can, please do become a channel member by going to youtube.com/TYTsports and clicking the join button. If that's too much for you, you can just go to tyt.com/join to become a member. It helps all of us out here at the Young Turks and keeps our network afloat. In addition, you could follow me on my socials on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Appreciate the love. Have a great day.